All
Awesome.
right. Well, hello, everyone. If this is your first time tuning in to my blab, I'm Alexa Carlin. I'm a speaker, author, and founder of the nonprofit movement Hello Perfect. I'm also a big Periscoper. I do a morning motivation every morning, Monday through Friday, on Periscope at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today we are talking on how to make the transition from day job to dream job with the one and only Joe Johnson. So, hi,
Hey,
Joe.
what's going on, Alexa? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so happy we were able to do this. So, I met Joe at my last speaking engagement at ScholarCon in Orlando, and we were speaking to hundreds of college kids. And yeah, we ended up finding out that he was at University of Florida. I went to University of Florida, and we really just connected on our mission and what we're trying to accomplish with, sharing our story, sharing our voice, and inspiring others. So I was really inspired by your journey, but why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, just real quick. Whenever I meet somebody for the first time, I tell them there's not a lot of people that can go around the country and mentally decapitate people the way that I do, right? but but I love what I do. I'm a former school counselor. I've worked in higher ed, um, but it was something missing about my mission. I was a former athlete, played ball in college and a little bit afterwards. And I think sometimes the hardest transition is getting away from your identity as an athlete when you don't know who you are. So I decided to leave my full time position at a big time university and really just go after what I really wanted to do. So I'm an author, speaker, national speaker. I do a lot of training around the country, and I feel liberated. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy we connected. I love what you're doing. So let's get dive right in. So I know you came up with this topic. So how to make the transition. And I think that's so important because we're all trying to make that transition, even if it's just within the same company, making it our dream job. Like every single day, we want to wake up and feel excited about life. But a lot of times that doesn't happen. So we're going to talk on different tools and ways to help you make that transition and that mindset change to live your dream life.
Mhm.
So let's
So
go ahead.
okay, so I wanted to kind of just throw something out there. And first, I just want to say that sometimes people underestimate how powerful transitioning into what you really want to do is. I mean, it gave me this feeling where I was like, man, I should have done this a long time ago, right? And Alexa, I wonder if you felt that way as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, but one of the things that I start with, especially with this topic transitioning, is we must first repurpose our mindsets or repurpose the way in which we think, because a lot of times we want to jump right into these action steps for the transition, but we haven't changed the way in which we think. So it's hard for us to make that transition, and some people fall back into what they were doing before. So the first thing I would like to just throw out there to everybody is we must first repurpose our mindsets and the way in which we think before we start those action steps into really transitioning into what we should be doing. And I'm gonna give you a couple of those, but I want Alexa to go ahead, throw something in there
Yeah,
regarding
so
the
I
mind.
always say your perspective creates your reality. So it is just changing your mindset about your current situation in order to leap into that transition. Because if you believe that you're in a rut or you're thinking about your present negatively, it's going to be very, very difficult to step out of that because you're always thinking negatively. And, my last blab on here was with Bob Doyle, and we're talking about law of attraction. And, what you focus on is what you manifest. So you don't want to ever focus on the negative situation. And if you're working towards your dream job, or maybe you're stuck in a spot that isn't, what you love to do, you need to figure out ways, and like just said, we're going to talk about that, figure out ways to change that mindset so you can feel like you're in your dream job already in order to get there quicker.
Yeah. I'm going to give you all a couple of things just to think about. This isn't even the action steps regarding when you're trying to transition, right? But this is just some ways to really begin to repurpose your mindset. So the first thing is ask yourself this question: am I in a situation that I know I should not be in. So that could be a relationship, it could be your job, but just ask yourself that question. Am I in a situation that I know I should not be in, right? Number one. Number two, what have I been programmed to believe, right? I believe we've been programmed, socialized, conditioned. Right. The first thing that comes to mind for me is you need to go to K through 12 and get good grades. Then you go to college and then you go find a job. We've been programmed to believe that, right? Number three, and then I'm gonna give Alexis the floor real quick. What will it take for you to step outside of your comfort zone? I think many of us we're stuck in that comfort zone and we don't want to do anything different. We've been hanging around the same people that think like us, right? What will it take for you to step outside your comfort zone? Number four is, why do I want to transition? There's so many people that want to transition, but they don't have a foundation or a base on why they want to do it, right? And the last one, number five, because my background is counseling, but pay attention to how things make you feel. Pay attention to that. When you get up in the morning and you got to go to work, are you upset? Are you angry? Like, oh, I do not want to go there. I want to stay in my bed, right? When you get there, how are you feeling? Do you feel like, why am I here? Well, I can't stand this. And then the impact that the work that you are doing, what does that impact it have on you? What is the feeling that you get regarding the impact of the work that you are doing? Go ahead, Alexa, take it. I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, take your time. That's very valuable. So two key points from, I think it was 4 and 5. So the 4, you said why. I actually did a morning motivation about what is your why. And I came up with like the 3 things to win, right? W, here it looks like win. So you need to know, who are you fighting for? When are you going to do it, and why are you doing it in order to win? Win at life, win at your dreams, win at whatever you're working towards accomplishing. Okay, so who are you fighting for? Hopefully you're fighting for yourself, but you also may be fighting for your family or for your kids, or for, in our case, for, college kids. Who are we fighting for? Who are we trying to make a difference in whose life? And then, when are we going to do it? That's very, very important, because when are we going to act upon it? It's up to you. Life isn't just going to hand you your dream job, or your situation is just not going to change randomly. You need to know, when are you going to do it? And that could be today, that could be next week. But my key advice is, don't wait until you think you are ready, because you'll never be ready. Don't wait until and say I don't have enough money, I'm not in the right place, I don't have enough support, or blah, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not educated enough. The timing will never be right, because guess what? Every single day you can be better than you were yesterday. So you got to just go for it. Just go for it. Everyone started somewhere. So you have to start in order to get better. And then the last one, of course, is your why. That's so important. Like, one challenge that I'll ask all of you to do that's listening on my Periscope and here on Blab is write down your why today. Why are you doing what you're doing? What is your dream? Like, why? Because that's going to be your motivation to continue to fight for it, even when obstacles arise. Continue to fight for it. And what was your number 5 again?
Number 5 was, pay attention to how things make you feel.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I always talk about feel-ulize, right? Feel your vision, okay? You feel it and visualize it at the same time, because it's so important to feel what you're trying to create, because that helps it manifest quicker, because you're already in that space. I talk a lot and do a lot of teachings on the power of positive thinking. And the science behind that is, we have our unconscious mind and our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind and our conscious mind. And your conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject, right? Like, Joe, I can say, do you want a glass of water? You can say yes or no. That's your conscious mind. But your subconscious mind has to accept whatever it is given. It has to accept whatever it is given. So if you're thinking about something, say my vision is to be on a stage in front of 1,000 people and them all giving me a standing ovation, right? So I'm going to picture myself on the stage. I'm going to feel the lights on me. I'm going to feel my sweat because I'm so nervous. And I'm going to visualize what I'm wearing, how I'm feeling, what the room looks like, and feel it. And when I actually feel it, then my subconscious mind does not know if I'm actually on that stage or if I'm just thinking it, because it has to accept whatever it is given. And that's very important. And an easy way to know that this is like actually true is like, if you think about something that you're terrified of, like I've asked my audience this on Periscope before, people have said snakes or lions or spiders. And then you think, you visualize and feel the spider crawling on your skin and like tickling you, and you get like all creeped out and your heart might start racing. Then you know that it works, because your subconscious mind is thinking that there's actually a spider on you.
Right.
So it's very important. That last step was very, very important, what you said.
Yeah, that's, it's always interesting how people have these feelings. And the analogy that I give is, if every day you're walking home from school and there's some guys on the corner and they're trying to beat you up, and every day you see those same group of people and you get this feeling, at some point, I'm hoping that you're going to take a different route to get home, or you're going to cross the street so you don't walk past those guys. But we don't pay attention to those feelings. And sometimes our feelings are what really make us make that positive jump towards something different, something that we really should be doing. But we don't tap into those sometimes. So we've got to pay attention to how we feel.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go over, we'll also have people jump into the blab in a little bit. But let's go over some questions. You can also ask your questions in the chat. I'm reading them. So so definitely you can type in, or you can call in a little bit later. So let's go over some questions on like the first action step. So like, say, for example, you are stuck in a job and you have to stay in that job because you have to make money, you have to feed yourself. What would be the first step to changing your mindset that this can be your dream job, that this can be leading you to your dream job? I believe everything happens for a reason, but it's very hard when you're stuck in a negative mindset.
Right. Well, I think we touched on it just a little bit, but don't underestimate the positive thinking, right? Once again, regarding that mindset, the way in which you think, how you vision yourself, where do you see yourself? You just hit it on the money, right? But when I think about the action step, what do I actually do in regards to an action? I say, write down what you want, why you want it, and just come up with a plan. That plan may change a little bit, but write down your plan. Write down what you want to do, why you want to do it, and write a plan. Don't just think about it. This is where action begins to take place. Write this stuff down.
Right. I talk about journaling and writing everything down so much. Like, I am a big believer, because it helped me, not only overcome post-traumatic stress and depression and get myself out of that negative mindset in order to manifest what I really wanted in life, which was journaling, because you journal out all the fears, all the things that are holding you back. But also you put it out into the world, and when you're writing it down, it kind of becomes like permanent. And so the universe hears that, definitely. And then also you feel like you have to live up to it, just like a to-do list works. It's the same thing, to-do list works. So why not do that for your dream job, like whatever you want to accomplish in life. And also the first thing is believing that you are worthy of achieving that. Really, like, if you don't believe you're worthy of it, then you're always going to have that little bit of doubt. And that doubt shows, when you walk into a meeting, right, you can tell who's the most confident person in that room. And that person is going to be the one that gets the raise. That person's going to be the one that gets the client, or whatever it is. But because they're confident in themselves, and other people can feel that, and people want that. So there's tons of different ways. And you can check out my website, alexacarlin.com, how to build that confidence. But one key way is to write it down. And if you have fears of like not being worthy of accomplishing something, I always say I fear regret more than I fear failure. Mm-hmm. Regret sucks. I never want to feel regret, like, ever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that confidence piece, because a lot of my a lot of my students at the university that I was working at, they would, I got swag or swag this. Let me tell you something. When you can walk into the room and you could tell that your energy brings a presence and people know that you're about something, well, that's when you're at that peak confidence, right? And so you gotta have that confidence, because it does so much, not only for you, but for other people in the room. So I'm glad you said that confidence piece. I love it.
Yeah, confidence. So Bam F Swag wrote on the chat, a thought isn't real and can't take shape or to grow on or change until it's real. That's when it becomes a form of tangible. Thoughts are flighty, but writing it down, yes, is validation of a concept. Definitely. I like the way you worded that. Yeah, so if you also on my Periscope, if you want to write questions, I'll try to see them in time. So yeah, that's writing it down is a key tool that is so easy and is free. It's totally free. So another thing, so if you're stuck in this mindset of not enough, right? We tend to say there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough positions for me to be able to be that successful. Okay, there's enough space for everyone to be successful. Like, think about if the Beatles said, oh, there's already enough boy bands, and I bring this analogy up a lot, there's already enough boy bands, like we shouldn't even try, then music would be completely different. So never think that because someone else is a motivational speaker or someone else is an author that's talking about your exact topic, there could be another one of those authors talking about the exact topic because you have a different story than that person. Right. And we're all different. We all have a different DNA. So never think that you can't be as successful as someone else. Use that person instead of competing with them or comparing yourself to them. I always say comparison is the thief of joy. Use them as a motivation and a person to show that it's possible. If they can do it, you can do it. If you look around, everything around you, including Blab, including the computer, including Periscope, was created by another human that's no smarter than you really are. They just had the belief in themselves, they had the idea, and they acted upon it. That's it's about that action, right? Ideas aren't worth nothing.
Mm-hmm. I love that, Alexa. I love that. We got to compare. San08880 TOS. Comparison is the thief of joy. Oh, he or she, I can't tell. Sorry, but they just requoted you, and I love that. I love that. When you talk about that comparison piece, and then just there's so many people that we look at everybody else to bring joy to our lives, and it don't work like that until you're happy with what you're doing. Daniel Dos Santos, sorry about that. But I really love the fact that when I used to look at others, for me. It wasn't really comparing to me, comparing to what I was doing, but I was like, man, that's pretty nice that they actually stepped out and did it. So it helped me with the confidence to say, go ahead and do it yourself, right? So when I looked at other people, I wasn't too much comparing them to what I was doing, but I was like, wow, I'm so glad they did that. I need to jump out here and do it. Have you ever had thoughts like that, Lex?
Yes. Sometimes I see people and I'm like, oh my God, I could be doing that. And I sometimes get really anxious because I'm not there yet and they're already there. And I just have to take a deep breath and be like, okay, everything happens on your own timeline, right? We're all on our own journey and things will happen at the right time. Like when I was building my nonprofit, Hello Perfect, I always wanted to be somewhere that I wasn't yet, right? I would see all these successful nonprofits and I would just see people on the Today Show and I'm like, oh my God, I could talk about this. I could do this. But if I got there at that time, I wasn't ready for it. Right. I was not ready for it because whatever would come out of that, if there was a book deal or if there was even people just wanting to invest more, I didn't have that product or that capacity to even make things happen. So I realized it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And if we can learn to trust the journey, oh my God, life is so much more fun.
Look, you jumping ahead already, but I love that. I love that so much. I want to throw this other piece out there. So we talked about writing things down. I know the second piece for me regarding action steps is that, and I say it all the time, research, consult. Because I think there's so many people that they say they want to do something, they write it down, but then they don't go out and see what everybody else is doing or see how this individual did this, or go sit with a company and say, hey, can I just shadow you for a day? Or go with somebody who's transitioned into the same field and say, hey, can you tell me about your experiences during your transition? Like, we don't research or consult enough. And sometimes all we got to do is ask somebody, hey, can you do this? Can you help me do this? And they'll help you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. People think that like everyone's so competitive, but actually people that are successful understand that collaboration is key. I always say collaboration versus competition. Yeah. And if you, I've gotten a lot of gigs or mentors and great meetings that propelled me forward through just asking. And like, I've gotten so many things just asking on Twitter. I mean, now there's Periscope, but before Periscope, I would just tweet people. And I've made some amazing contacts. I got my first paid speaking gig, which was ScholarCon, because I just tweeted them. So really, it's just like, use social media, use what you have. The internet is free education, okay? Free education. So if you don't have the money to invest in something right now, you have all this research. Go on Google, like it's your own college right there.
Let me give you a shameless plug real quick. You know, when I met Alexa at ScholarCon, I wasn't able to stay in her whole session, but I was popping in and out because I promised other people that I was going to go to their session. But I started to just pay attention to her. And what I noticed, I said, man, this girl got a social media following. I said, what is she doing? And so I just started paying attention. And although I've been in the speaking game a little bit longer than Alexa, that doesn't mean I can't learn from her. Right. And so when she talks about collaboration, not competition, that's what it's about. And I'm comfortable with myself and confident enough to know that it's okay for me to ask for help. And so I just reached out to Alexa like, yo, I see the hustle. I see what you're doing, and I really love it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't think I told you that. I'm paying attention to you, and I appreciate you.
Oh, I'm glad. No, yeah. When I met you, I didn't even see you speak, but I could tell like you knew what you were doing. And I just like the whole vibe. So yeah, no, we can learn from everyone. I always say like everyone that comes into your path and that you encounter, even someone that's like in the line of like going to get coffee, they're there for you to learn from, and you never know how they can, affect your life or impact you. Like we just met for really quickly, and now we're connecting again on Blab, and you never know what this conversation may lead to, and it's really awesome. It's really cool when you put yourself out there. Absolutely.
So this other piece after research and consult for me is one thing that I don't think enough of us take advantage of, and identifying a mentor or a coach within the field that you want to go in and outside of the field that you want to go in. Right. So say a little bit about that, Alexa.
Yeah. So I've always had mentors in my life. A lot of them came organically. One was my first internship in New York City when I was in college. My boss became my mentor. She's still kind of like my mentor, and I just look up to her so much. And then after I actually got out of the hospital, when I had my near-death experience, there was a person that I met through working at InStyle magazine, and she reached out to me, and she was a huge mentor. But I mean, she was a mentor for a period of my life, and we're still connected, but we don't like talk like we used to. Right. And but I always say people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. She definitely came into my life for a reason, because she actually gave me a book that was from Brendan Burchard, and it was called I always forget about I read so many of his books, but it was talking about how to share your story and how to create like a job, a career out of your experiences. And that's when I started, that's what planted the seed, like, hey, maybe I should start speaking about what happened and turn it into a positive. So she oh my God, she took me on this whole other thing. And then I started researching more experts. And there was this, because Brendan Burchard is founder of the Expert Academy. And I was researching like this whole field of online experts in different categories I didn't even know existed. And that's what really took me on this path towards like, I want to be that. I want to be that inspiration, that motivation for others by sharing my own story and being vulnerable with people. Because it's so hard to find people that are vulnerable. And I always talk about vulnerability is such a strength. Mm-hmm. But another thing I have to say about mentors and people that are helping you on your journey, a lot of people pay for coaches, and then some people make the excuse like, oh, I don't have the money to pay for a health coach or a life coach or whatnot. To be honest, like I'm a certified health coach. I don't work with people on one-on-one, but I've actually never paid for a coach. And I use the people that I look up to on the internet as my mentors. Like I'll say like Gary Vaynerchuk is my mentor. I'll say Lewis Howes is my mentor. Gabby Bernstein is my mentor because I watch what they're doing. I research their business. I watch all of their videos, and they're teaching me so much. So if you're looking for a mentor and you haven't found a person, in person, there's so many mentors and gurus and coaches and experts online. Like I said, the internet's free education. Use it.
I'm so glad you said that because your mentor doesn't necessarily have to always be within the physical, where you can touch them, right? I say the same thing you said. I have mentors. They don't even know they're my mentors, but I watch how they move, right? I watch how their actions. I was like, wow, that's nice. And I research and I look up on how they do things. So I haven't paid for a coach or anything, and I'm not saying I'm against that, but there's so much out there that you can get from individuals if you just pay attention and read up on it. And sometimes if you just reach out to them, even though they look like they're this massive worldwide person, they'll hit you back. I've been talking to this guy named Peter Voog on Twitter. He has a book called 6 Months to Six Figures, man. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. He hit me back. We back him for a couple questions. He's answering those questions. So reach out to folks.
Yeah, definitely. I always tell people like, reach out to me. I respond personally. And I've used Periscope and now Blab I'll be using to, give free education and give that advice. And that's why I always say, tweet me if you want me to talk about a specific topic, or if you want me to bring on someone that you feel inspired, I'll reach out to them. I'll make that happen. And it's completely free and it's amazing. Yeah. Mandela just wrote, so agree with using your story as part of the focus because it can inspire each other. I'm guessing. Me too. I use others as well and watch them all the time and learn from them. Awesome. So Lance said, learn so much from Gary Vee than people I used to pay thousands in. Yep. So you learn so much from Gary Vaynerchuk rather than from people that you paid thousands of dollars for. So that's a perfect example, Lance. Like you can learn from people that are giving free advice on the internet. So don't ever think that it's not good enough, because it's really how you perceive it and how you take it and run with it.
Yeah.
So does anybody want
a little volume issue? 1 second, Alexa.
Okay. But if anyone wants to come on and add to the conversation, ask a question, or, just talk about how maybe you did the transition or how you are transitioning and maybe some blockage that's stopping you from going full force, feel free. The seat is open.
There we go. All right. There we go.
So, Bam Efro on Periscope. Sometimes it helps even just reaching out to help others. The universe pays you back. Yes. And also it makes you happy. When you give, you become happier. And then when you release endorphins, you get more creative, you get more energetic, get more motivated. So yeah, giving is great. Oh, awesome. We have Lance calling in.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi, Lance.
Basically,
what's up, Lance?
Hey, what's going on, Joe? Alexa, I've been following you on Periscope for a while, and I just wanted to say I'm glad that you're on here, because this one, to me, this platform, Blab, this is where it's at. The interaction, you can learn, you can give. It's just as instant as everything else, but it has that extra oomph as far as I'm concerned. So I was excited when I saw that you were going to start. Thanks for all of the information. And, I look forward to learning and contributing. I'm a lot older than a lot of you guys who are in the mix now with this new world that you got, and how you basically jumped on, started communicating and giving and adding value to each other's lives. we used to have to do it in library rooms in the back, you know what I mean? In weird meetings at theosophical societies talking about, laws of attraction and the keys and the ancient stuff. But, it seems to have, really, really gone big. So anyway, I really like this particular platform, and I like the message, I'd much rather everyone gets fixated and waste time on this positive stuff. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for following and for jumping on. I see this platform as like super valuable. I see it as a lot of people have been telling me, Alexa, you need to start a podcast. Alexa, you need to start a podcast. And it just never felt completely right. Or maybe just not the right time. And then I find out about Blab and I'm like, wow, this kind of works because I'm very an in-person. I like when people see my facial expressions when I'm talking because I think it's more powerful. And this is kind of like a podcast radio show ad video. It's awesome. It's
just as instantaneous as Meerkat and Periscope because that in this generation, that has to happen. I mean, I personally like watching YouTube. I find a lot of value in YouTube. I'm on YouTube hours and hours. Sometimes I mess around, but most of the time I'm learning. But, those things they're not instantaneous. And the instantaneousness of this particular platform, you're not going to get it on, this has been around forever, but the 4 people, I know I sound like a broken record because it's all I do is try to tell the developers, don't change the 4 people. Do not allow direct messaging. Don't mess with what you have right now at launch because it's a perfect mix of everything that's really going on right now. But, you were talking about you like to do the facial expressions and everything. I'm not an educator. I'm not a coach. I'm not someone who needs to expound knowledge to people. I like using Periscope and those things for different reasons. I'm in real estate. I do stuff like that in a local market. Of course, I'm an Android user, so I don't have the map on my Periscope.
Android, yeah.
Come on already, But the point is, like, you guys are, you add value. You have people who follow you to get your message and, your coaches and, for lack of a better term, like whatever you want to call what you do. I don't really have that. So to me, a platform like this where, I can add value to most conversations. I have a lot of life experience. I have a lot to add, but to just blast it out unilaterally, that's not my thing. So that's why I really like this. I'm really glad that I saw that you were doing this today, Alexa. And Joe, nice to meet you. Absolutely. And we'll go from there. I'll let somebody else jump in. Nice seeing you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
You got it.
Quickly, Lance, before you leave, and Alexa, I want to throw this out there because another piece of this transitioning action for me is making a decision and staying committed to that decision because people bounce in and out once they make the decision to transition. What is your take on committing to what you decide to transition to?
Me?
Both of you all. Yeah.
I was a chiropractor for 17 years. And when I got into chiropractic college, I knew that it wasn't necessarily going to be for me. Just because of it wasn't really what I had expected it to be. But I followed through. I didn't get out of school. I went through the whole thing. I said, I'm going to make it my world. I'm going to make it the world of chiropractic doesn't have to be what I'm being taught or what other people are saying to me. I'm going to make it, Lance, it's going to fit my mindset, my worldview. Graduated, went out, built a very nice practice down the street from you, Alexa, in Deerfield Beach. Oh. And, and I stuck with it and I did what I needed to do. And I enjoyed it. But then when the external forces that control it, that you have zero control over, because I'm talking about economics and I'm talking about insurance regulation, it's not about positive thinking. It's about regulation. It's about what you are allowed under your license to do and not do and how you have to act in that particular situation. I said, you know what? It's time for me to do what I want to do. Because it wasn't filling my happiness. I wasn't, following my bliss anymore. But I had started investing in real estate a couple of years earlier. And, I found my number. I found someone who wanted to buy the practice, who had that type of, they were very, very interested in doing that. So to answer your question, I stayed true to myself at a time where it wasn't what I wanted to do. And then when it was what I wanted to do, because right now I stayed true to myself and jumped off and left the practice, sold the practice. And I'm doing something completely different. I started with the real estate investing and then I became an agent and I wish that I was doing this. I mean, it took the 20 years to get here, but if I were doing this 20 years before, it would have been really, really cool, because I absolutely love what I do every day. Very much along the mindset of what you guys talk about. I'm not pushing. I'm being pulled in real estate. I wake up every morning addicted, wanting to, and I stay up till 1:30 at night, not because I have to do anything, because to me, it's like going into a casino or an arcade or a video game. To me, real estate is the hustle of real estate is the juice. It's the fun. You know, I have a whole family life and everything like that is wonderful. But so to me, I followed that, both things. I followed it at a time where it was something I made a commitment to and followed it for that reason. And then something I followed because I was being pulled. So that's my answer.
That's key when you're being pulled. Like I said, when you are on the right path, things just align like so perfectly. And I don't believe in coincidences, and I believe everything does happen for a reason. And when I was trying so hard to, like, for example, like I always thought I wanted to work in fashion. After college, I moved to New York City to work at InStyle magazine, and I was trying so hard through every internship, through every job, and it wasn't filling me up like I thought it would. It was like I thought that I wanted that life, you know, that like, oh, that fashionable girl that's walking to like her magazine job in New York City. And I thought that I wanted that vision, but in reality, that life didn't belong to me. And it was the hardest but best decision I ever made for myself, was to listen to my heart and get out of my head and get out of like society stereotypes and everything, and just go with what I wanted to do. Like I've heard this story where when I was living in New York, there was this girl who had like a 6-figure income from a corporate job, and it was a great job. Everyone loved, like everyone wants that job, but she was not happy. She quit it to be a dog walker, but she is so happy. And then she made a business out of it, and you can make a lot of money walking dogs in New York City. But the important thing is that she was happy and she was living her truth. And that's, I mean, life, this is your life. Like I said, it's not a dress rehearsal. This is the main show. So you got to do what you want to do in life.
Yeah. Every time I have this dialogue, this would affirmed a book that I wrote called "Pursue Your Purpose, Not Your Dreams." Every time I have these conversations, I'm like, wow, it's all about really living in that purpose, finding what you're supposed to be doing, discovering what you're supposed to be doing in life. And like you said, Alexa, everything will line up for you. I'm telling you, money, happiness, being able to travel, whatever you love, it will line up for you. I don't care. So I really appreciate you sharing, Lance, and thank you for throwing that in there.
Thank you so much, Lance. So we had a few comments over here on the side. So someone asked, how do you honor your transition phase while being in college, worried about whether or not you're making the right choices? That's a really good question. Want to jump on that?
I'll jump on that. The first thing for me is we don't do enough of identity development. We don't help find who we are as individuals, right? What we stand for, our values, just deep down. A lot of times when we talk about identity, it's at a surface level. You know, when you ask somebody, hey, who are you? They'll talk about their jobs. They'll talk about, I love basketball, or I love this, or no. Who are you? So, you know, one of the first things that I want you to begin to think about, whoever asked that question, I didn't see it. Ask yourself the question, who are you? But at a deeper level, because when you begin to think about your identity, when you begin to understand your values, what you stand for, who you are, what happens is you can't get pulled in different directions. Society can't tell you to take on a major because you might get paid, or your mother or father or teacher can't say, hey, this is what you should be doing. So start with understanding who you are. We could talk further about it. You can contact me, but that's one of the key questions, so we can't get lost and be doing so much other stuff outside of what we really should be doing in our lives.
Yeah. That's a great tip of advice. When I was in college, I always thought that I was going to own my own fashion business. So I really didn't care so much about what I was majoring in, because I started my first business in high school. And And I always just knew I was going to own my own business. I just have always had that entrepreneurial drive and that passion inside of me. So I just studied general business and I took some minors in like mass communications and entrepreneurship. But then getting out of college, I was like, shit, I need to find a job. And I had a general business degree, and it's very hard to get a job with a general business degree. So the thing is, I knew deep down that I was going to start my own business and make something happen to myself that wasn't in the cookie cutter of, oh, I'm going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher. You know, it just, I always said, like, I'm going to be something that I don't even know what it's called. Right. So think about that. Think about where you see yourself. Like, what do you see yourself doing every single day? Forget what you thought you wanted to be. Forget what makes a lot of money. Forget what your parents are saying. Think about what you see for yourself. And if you don't see anything right away, just start writing. Just start journaling your feelings and journaling what makes you come alive. Because what makes you come alive, that's what is going to help you thrive. And anything that you're passionate about, you will be successful at because you'll never stop. And you'll make that money, and you'll probably make a lot more than you would if you were in a job that you thought you were only doing because of the money.
And you know, I'm glad you said that. And another piece that I think you can do, something that you could actually do right now after you listen to us, you can actually call some of your friends that really know you, your cousins, people that you hang out with, and ask them, hey, what do you think are my strengths? Right? Call the ones that will be honest with you, though. Don't call the people that always want to agree with you, right? Just ask, say, hey, what do you think are my strengths? Just to see what other people see you being good at. Because what you see yourself being good at, sometimes other people don't see that. So if those don't match up, sometimes you may be on a road of destruction, right? So just go ask that question and get some honesty from people. What do you think I'm good at? What are my strengths?
Yeah, actually, I did that. When I was in New York, living in New York, I was at a place where I was just like, was so confused. I was quitting my job at InStyle magazine because I just didn't see, that just wasn't purposeful to me. And I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I was stuck in this like limbo state. And I just literally texted all my friends and my family. And I was like, what's one word that comes up when you think of me? What's one word? What's the first word that you think of when you think of Alexa Carlin? And everyone said inspiration. Literally every single person said the same answer. So I'm like, okay, all right, I got to do something with this. Even one of my high school teachers I saw the other day, and he's like, Alexa, you're the only person I know that made being an inspiration like a full-time job. But I'm saying, like, you can make anything happen. You don't have to go with what society says.
That's right.
Someone else said, Bam F Swag said, baby step it. Don't remove the teeth to feed the mouth. It's all about a budget of time and focus without taking away from what is essential to survive while the new venture matures. While the new venture matures. Right. I had a full-time job while I was building my business at nighttime and on the weekends, and I was committed. So yeah, I sacrificed a lot of my social life, but not for a long period of time because I did it for maybe 6 months, a full-time job while growing my business. And then I knew it was the right time to take the leap. So yeah, sometimes you will have to do the full-time job while you're trying to build your dream job.
Yeah. I mean, those late night, early mornings, hey, that's okay. But make sure you're doing something, those baby steps, to move towards what you know you really should be doing. And it's an emotional roller coaster as well, right? So so be prepared. Be prepared to feel like, oh, why am I doing this? Should I be doing this? Oh, I hate today. But just be confident and keep moving forward, although you're going to have that emotional roller coaster.
And keep focus on your why. That's why I say write down your why big and bold and put it somewhere that you see every single day. So when you do have those obstacles, you do have those feelings of fear or just like, oh, like I can't do this anymore, you'll see your why and then you'll be able to overcome it.
Yeah.
See your why. Someone else said, Mr. Andy Campbell said, when your life becomes a prison, it's time to turn the key. I like that. I've never heard that before. Very, very cool. And then he said, people don't know that they're own the keys to their own prisons. I love waking people up. It's what I do for a living. Yes, waking people up, right? Wake up, dress up, and show up for your life, because today your life is happening.
That's right. That's right. I like Stokely Stenick question. I think I said that right. Is the current school system as we know it relevant in today's market, with exception of being doctors, lawyers, and engineers? What do you think, Alexa?
Is the current school system as we know it relevant in today's market? I think it's still relevant, because I think education is very important. Do I agree with how the school system is run, like how it works? No, not always. I don't believe that test grades should determine if you pass or fail a certain class, or how SAT scores determine if you should get into a certain college. I don't believe in that, because there's so many successful and very intelligent people that just suck at taking tests because they have test anxiety. So we're all different. So I don't believe in that. But I believe that what it sets for younger kids, and for us as a society, is it shows the importance of education. And by putting that importance on education, that's why a lot of people continue education. And like I'm not in school. I did my 4 years, and that's it. I know you just graduated, right, from your master's?
Next May, I'll be finishing my PhD. Next May you'll be finishing
your PhD, which is amazing. I did continuous education I went to get my certified holistic health coach license to learn more about that, but I didn't continue in the university. But I'm still I buy webinars. I still continue that education, because I know the importance and the value of being educated in what you want to do in life. So I do think it's still important. I just don't agree exactly how it's set up.
Yeah, and having worked as a school counselor in K through 12, I think there's a lot of pieces that are missing, right? And there's not a lot of honesty. We do all this research, but we don't implement findings to help better our education system. So what I'll say is, what's missing is we like to teach education and the how you regurgitate knowledge and education, but we don't like to teach how to implement and put your education into action all the time, right? From my experience, right? So I believe that needs to change. And I also believe we need to talk a lot more about entrepreneurship. I was talking to this guy in China, and he said, the difference between the USA, your kids in the USA, and the kids here in China is you all teach your kids to go to college and to find a job. We teach our kids to go to college and create jobs. That's two different things, right? And so I think we need to begin to prepare our students a little bit differently and help them understand how to navigate this new world, right? With all this technology and everything. So I think there's some pieces that are missing, but education is still relevant. And the last piece I'll just say is school is different than education. Don't get those mixed up. Don't get those.
Definitely. I like how you put that. Let's see more comments on the side. Your strengths are the things your haters can't stand about you. Andy Campbell says, yes. Bam F says, it's not about the haters so much as showing them, letting them become believers. Question, is it more important to take the leap or gain confidence first by doing research? Says Boss JD99. Is it more important to take the leap or gain confidence first by doing research?
I think you need to do that research and gain some confidence. I'm not just going to go do something and then say, you know what, I'll learn on the go. No, let me try to get as much information as I can and as much confidence as I can, so I even have the ability to stay out there once I take that leap. What do you think, Alexa?
I think yes and no. Okay, so I think before you take the leap, saying you quit your job and just go for it, yes, you need to do more research and learn more about it, because you may not like it. Because the reason I say yes and no is because after college, I took the leap. I moved to New York City by myself, trying to work in fashion, and was working an internship at InStyle, leading up to a freelance position until they finally hired me. But the thing is, I ended up moving home a year later because I realized that life wasn't necessarily the life that I wanted to live. So I had to kind of reevaluate, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? I spent a lot of money moving there, a lot of money moving home. But the thing about it is, if I didn't take that leap and go for it, I would still be thinking about it. and I may be sitting here thinking that I wanted to work in fashion and leading and doing so much research about it, then finally take the leap and go there and then be like, shit, I don't really want to do this in my life. So then I would have been 3 years behind than what I am now. So I think you need to the best way to start, and this is my tip, is to do things around that passion, around that industry on your side, like on your extra time. So if you're working your job and you want to start a podcast, you can easily do that while you're at your job. If you want to be an author, you can easily start a blog and start writing. So there are things that you can do to see if it's right for you. But I always say you need to act upon it and not just sit and think about it, because you'll never really know if you like it. That's like, oh, I think I really like soccer. I'm going to do so much research and think that I like soccer. And then I get on the field and I'm like, oh my God, I hate soccer.
Hey, that happens all the time. You know how many people that I speak with, and they say, I know I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And I say, hey, have you ever spent some time, or have you ever? No. I'm like, well, that's part of the process. Like, make sure you do that. But I want to really quickly just contextualize what you were talking about. And what I mean by that is, as a college student, sometimes when, say, you don't have a family, you're freshly getting out there in the world, you have the capacity and you don't have as much responsibilities as somebody that has a family, or so it's easier for you to jump out and just take that leap, right? So for those of you who may be in different situations, and maybe you have a family, or you're taking care of your grandmother or something, we have to contextualize this as well. So what Alexa's saying is, I totally agree, but your situation may not be her situation. So think about what your situation is and take that into consideration regarding what you should do first. Research, right? Gain the confidence, or just take that leap. Because sometimes if you just take that leap and you're leaving all your responsibilities when you're taking care of your family and doing stuff, you're putting a lot of lives at risk.
Yeah, definitely know your situation. We're all in I was able to do that. Like he said, I didn't have a family. I just was taking care of myself. But you can always act and do the research at the same time without fully taking the leap. Like I said, for the soccer example, go out and play some games of soccer, do some research about it, and then see if you like it. But I always say throw some stuff on the wall and see what sticks. And that's part of your research, is trying before you actually take that full leap. Like, I spoke for free for about a year. I spoke completely for free because I wanted to see if I really loved it. I wanted to see and gain credibility and gain experience. So I was doing these speaking gigs while I was at my full-time job, until I really knew, like, okay, I need to take the leap. I need to do this full-time because I love it and I know I can make it work. And I was doing research at the same time.
Right. You know what? I want to throw this out there. I know a lot of you all probably know who Eric Thomas is, E.T., the hip hop preacher. I did an event with him, and then about a week later, I was just picking his brain. We're having a conversation, and he said something to me that I was like, wow. And a lot of people don't know that he's a pastor as well. But what he said was, he said, Joe, I know how you feeling right now, man. You in that office at that university, but all you're thinking about is what you should be doing in life. All you're thinking about is, and I was like, wow. He said, when I was at that stage, when I was working at a university, he said, I felt like I was committing adultery on my purpose and what I really should be doing on life. And that really made me think, like, wow, like, I need to make some steps to get out of here. And it helped me make that transition. So I wanted to share that with you all.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true to how I felt as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see some more comments. West R says, can we give feels to two people simultaneously? You can only click on one at a time, unless you have like two mouses or something. Feels is when you click on the hands like this and you give feels. Zach says, great Periscope this morning. Thank you, Zach. Let's see who else. Okay. So that was all the comments on the side. So does anybody else want to jump into the conversation, talk about how you're making that transition, or anything about turning your day job into your dream job? We'd love to gain your input and listen to your story. So feel free to jump in. But or ask any more questions. Let's call for last questions before we end this broadcast. But this was amazing. I'm glad we got to do this, Joe.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I appreciate you wanting to do it as well. I know somebody has some questions, or I'm very.
Yeah, you guys are quiet.
I'm gonna call somebody out. Christina Clark.
Christina Clark.
Christina Clark, are you still here? Come on, jump in. I like to call people.
Roka Body. I know Roka Body from Periscope. You want to jump in? I know you're taking the transition, right? To pursue your passion in fitness and health. This would be perfect to talk about. All right. So I don't want to put like anyone like that much on the spot. Because, thank you, Wes. I appreciate that. Okay. So if you're just tuning in and you missed the beginning part, then you can definitely check out the replay. I will post this on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Alexa Carlin. We actually have Daniel calling in, so let's accept him. But yeah, check out the replay if you're just tuning in, because there's some great advice that we provided. Hi, Daniel. Welcome.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for jumping in. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about where you are in your life?
I'm from Perth, Western Australia. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you guys for putting on this blab. It's my first time here, and it's a bit of a fresh air, sitting here listening to you guys talk about this. It's the middle of the night here, so that's why it's all dark in the background. But just wanted to say I appreciate the honesty and the insight that you guys are putting forward. It's helping me a lot because it's actually where I'm at, where I'm with myself at the moment, So I've been an entrepreneur probably since I was 20 years old. I started my own home maintenance business doing gutter cleaning. So I built that up for the last 8 years, and it's a pretty crap job. So, but I just enjoy the process of, putting systems in place and taking myself from being on the roof to actually being in the office, and then taking myself out of the office and having a full closed loop business, and learning from online mentors and offline mentors as well, teaching me exactly how to do that, and using online methods to, generate leads, build my own websites, do online marketing to help build that business to a point where I can sort of step out of it. And so along the line, along that way, I've always sort of dabbled in trying to teach others how to do the same. And so linking up with small businesses and teaching them how to do SEO for their business or AdWords and that sort of thing. So consultancy, basically. And so I figured out that that's not really my passion, because it's a bit, it's more salesy. I've got to try to convince people, and half the time they don't want to hear what you're trying to say. So, I've moved from trying to just brand myself online now and take myself completely out of that business, if not sell it or pass it on to my younger brothers, that home maintenance business, and move more into sort of, just being that person that people can come to for the knowledge that I've got on building a business, or any knowledge around online marketing. And I've had visions of myself on stage as well, doing speaker roles and that. But I think I'm a long way off that. But yeah, it's all part of the journey,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's about finding your voice, basically, finding how you can connect to people best, but having the courage to actually step out and actually put yourself in front of people and speak your truth, and not be afraid of ridicule or afraid of what people are going to say. That's where I'm at right now. And so it's that time in my life where I'm ready to step out and step into the big boy circle, really, is how I see it. And just be honest with yourself, just speak your truth, figure out what that is for yourself, and don't be afraid to share that with people,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
It's scary. You got to have courage to do it. And that's why I appreciate you guys, because you guys are there. And, I thank you for putting yourselves out there and inspiring people like myself to say, it can be done. So
it can be done. So it sounds like you're on the right path, just knowing that that you see yourself doing that, and that's the next step. It seems like your whole journey from your first business to where you are now has really led you to realize that, and that's amazing, because once you realize that, it's just all uphill from there.
Mm-hmm. And
exactly.
Daniel, I would just like to add, there's a lot of people who spend their whole lifetime trying to figure out what should I be doing. So the key thing here is you figured that thing out. Now you're saying the next step is just to jump out there. So I'll tell you some advice I got when I first began speaking. Somebody told me the more you speak, the more you speak. So the more that people begin to hear you, the more opportunities you'll get. And just like Alexa said, we both started off speaking for free, right? We both started off speaking for free. But I tell you this, just find small opportunities. Go into the classroom, into the schools there. Go to some community organizations. Just start sharing, right? But I promise you, the more you speak, the more you will speak, and your confidence will grow.
Yeah, I hear you. Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Alexa. I appreciate your feedback, both of you.
Yeah, definitely. I use Periscope to help practice. Like, I'm literally speaking in front of 30 plus people multiple times a day. And so that's a great tool to practice and share your story. Even if it's only 5 people watching, then it will turn into 10 and 15 and so on. And it's amazing what technology is capable of to help you gain that confidence. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story and calling in. I really appreciate it, Daniel.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes,
all the best.
Bye. Yeah, so that was awesome that he shared his story. So let's see. Crystal said, be authentically you. Yes, Mr. A. Yes, Periscope is brilliant to practice your public speaking confidence. It really is. Manny, you're on. You want to tune in? A few days left and I get to see you. Manny, you could tune in if you want to talk about how you're transitioning from day job to dream job, which I think you are through Periscope. Ike Smith, I think it's Ike Smith, said, I'm in college and I know I want to get to new places only being 20. Is being young and not as experienced a reason to hold me back? And also, how do you deal with thinking like that? Okay, well, one, no, age does not mean anything. I started my first business when I was a sophomore in high school. It does not mean anything. I think when you're young, you actually have that advantage because you have so much more time to like mess up, and you're in this generation of social media, and I think being young is very, very powerful. Mm-hmm. Can be very powerful.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would agree. I mean, I think, that's what we have this generational gap between folks who came before us and the younger generation now, the millennials. And I would tell you, man, use that to your benefit. Be young and free. They say young, wild, and free. I just say be young and free, right? You have experiences. You've been here 20 years, 21 years, whatever it is. You have things in your life that you've been through that you learned lessons from. So use those and run with it.
Definitely.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, Jacques. How's it going?
Oh, Jacques. Hi, Jacques. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Good. So thanks for calling in. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little about who you are and what you are working on?
Yeah, I'm Jacques Van Heeren. I'm a serial entrepreneur, investor, and podcaster. I started my first business at the age of 12. So age is definitely not just a number.
Right.
The company that I founded is Anakin Group, founded on the premise that anyone can be successful. We're a sustainable investment company. We own 23 companies in our portfolio, and I'm only 24 now. We have about 150 plus employees all over the world, offices in different areas, and living the life. Freedom is what I thrive on. So, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So there you go. A perfect example. I'm 24 also, by the way.
Yeah, awesome.
That's amazing. So,
and I'm married in the process too. So.
Yeah, I always say, like, when people ask me, Alexa, what's your definition of success? Healthy, you have freedom to live. If you're, if you have money, you have freedom. If you're happy, you have freedom. So I always strive for that versus like a specific dollar amount or something more specific, because freedom really is like what we all want. We all want some freedom to love who we want to love, to live the life we love, and so on. But that's incredible. So what was like? So did you ever?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Did you ever like have a fear that that it wasn't going to work out, or did you know that, or did you just like stay focused on the end goal and just go for it?
So basically, I started at the age of 12. I started freelance web design and web development, and actually from there, workload became so much that I had to hire employees to just help me out with some of the projects we were working on. So at the age of 16, the thing is, for me, I kind of started off from the point of where I said I never want to work for a boss. So I've never done a job outside of working for myself. I've never waitered, never bartended, never went through the rigmarole of working for someone. I did a little gardening service at the age of 8 that my dad helped me with. He was pretty entrepreneurial. And so the point for me is just that I kind of knew that I wanted to go big or go home. And so I believed that I could achieve, and I believed in myself so that other people could believe in me. And if I didn't believe in myself, how can I possibly allow other people to believe in me or expect them to believe in me? So I kind of just said that, put my head down, started working. At the age of 16, I had a partner that bought half of my company, 49% of my company, at the design service at the time, design agency with 16 employees. And, by the age of 16, we've worked with MTV, Sony, Reebok, landed some big clients in terms of what a 16-year-old was doing in the design and development industry. So, from there, I kind of gradually, with the investment money that came in with the guy buying half the company, I started to invest in smaller startups, tried my own different businesses, failed at a lot of different ideas and things that I tried out, lost quite a bit of money because obviously, it's kind of when you get that at such an age, you try different things. You don't mind throwing different money into different areas because you don't really have risk, if I can put it that way, because the company was looking after itself. So, I tried my different ways and different things. I was lucky enough to have 2 mentors that dramatically helped me stabilize my life and create a sustainable environment and foundation for what I am now capable of doing. I've got freedom to work from anywhere in the world. Spent 4 months in Asia at the beginning of the year with my wife, just after we got married. So a 4-month honeymoon, basically. And now I moved from South Africa to now living in Calgary, Canada. We have offices in the UK. And I wouldn't say that I'm, the biggest fear for me, or the only fear that I really have is, 1, maybe losing my wife over some dramatic something that happens. And 2 is possibly just that I am in the same place a year from today. So that I don't advance, or that we don't. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something because I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think it's important for you to just throw it out there. So from what I just heard from you is you kind of had that entrepreneur spirit ever since you were little. Right? And so for a lot of other people who, once again, are conditioned and programmed to believe they need to go to school, graduate, and get a job, how can we begin to help them change that mindset to it's okay to transition to doing something that you really love? And even if it's not your own business, but doing something that you're called to do and that you really love, how do we help them change that mindset?
Well, look, if we look back at how the generation before us, or Generation X, grew up, was that you're ingrained to, you have to go through school, you have to go through college, you have to find a sustainable job, and then you have to qualify to, be employed by a company so that you can achieve some manner or form of success as people see it. People see that $150,000 salary a year as being successful. And to me, that's kind of being gated to some extent. And, I think the big thing is just that people have to realize that we do need people that go through school and study and have degrees to help entrepreneurial mindset, or entrepreneurial driven people manage their companies, run their companies, and go past that which, obviously the goals and the posts that you set for yourself. So I think to start and change the societal mindset of mediocrity, for me, I would say start off by literally asking yourself, what do you love doing? What do you love talking about for 46 or 8 hours in a day? What could you literally sit down and talk about for 46 or 8 hours in a day? Secondly, what do people commend you for? What do people say that you're good at? What do your enemies or friends say? Oh, Alexa or Joe or Lance, you're good at that. I wish I was as good as you were at that. And then, just as an example, and then you basically write down and you ask people, what do they see in you? What do they see as valuable inside of you that you can bring to the table? And then if you're in a job or a situation or if you're a developer, designer, whether you're a consultant, accountant, lawyer, whether you're running for office, I mean, if you're unhappy in what you do every single morning, I mean, I'm excited to wake up in the day. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited to wake up in the morning because it gives me an opportunity to work on things that I love doing and help people and, inspire people to take it so much further than they did the day before. And if you're not really excited about waking up in the morning and you find it a chore or a burden to wake up in the morning, you definitely have to assess where you're at in your life right now. You have to assess, whether you're actually doing what you love doing, because here's the thing. If you hate what you're doing right now, you basically die the day that you took that job, and you're just being buried the day that you retire or when you die,
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
I mean, for me, it's...
Can I just add one thing real quick, and then I'm going to cut, because I wanted to say with words, because it would be difficult to say with text. Jock, I love your story. That's fantastic. That's right on. Someone asked in the comments, or had asked and said, what about, me, I'm young. And I just want to bring something, again, my perspective is I turned 44 the other day. I'm not an old person, but I'm older than all of you all, I would imagine.
Yeah.
The point being that you were, I'm sorry about my echo, but you were talking about all of this web design that you were doing, and this person's talking about being young. I know in the 90s, kids, in the late 90s, it was kids who were doing these things for companies because the dinosaurs couldn't do them. So not only is it don't be scared because you're too young, your youth is such an asset because you've been an advertiser for 5 years, or even a graphic designer, didn't know the technology that immediately blew up. Only the young people did. So there was a time where being young is totally an asset, and having zero experience in the dinosaur field, which is what marketing or blast media is. I mean, that's all done. And, people have done that for 35 years, but somebody brand new coming into a new medium, coming into an exchange medium, social medium, and something like that, it's an asset. So I just wanted to say that because I couldn't type it.
Yeah, awesome. No, I completely agree.
Thank you, Lance.
No, I think a recommendation, just to kind of round off what you asked me, Joe, a very good book that I found helpful to give to the older generation to read and understand what's currently happening in the world is Entrepreneur Revolution by Daniel Priestley. I'll just type it in the comments.
Okay.
Is it Entrepreneur Revolution or is it Entrepreneur Revolution? Entrepreneur Revolution, singular.
Sure. Thank you for that resource, Jock.
Yeah, Andy, just find that for me and then just link me up and then I'll just pop it in. Yeah, guys, I mean, for me, I think it's important that we just, right now is the prime time to really take hold of starting your own business, especially in the digital space. Social media is helping us to reach thousands, millions of people every year in different ways that have never been possible, especially with all the live streaming that's happening. I think, Alexa, you touched on a good point earlier where you said that, you practice public speaking on Periscope. And it's quite an intimidating way to practice speaking. And because you're looking at yourself, it's basically like standing in front of a mirror, and it could be very intimidating in terms of you're not having anybody interact with you. You have no interaction when it comes to Periscope in terms without typing it. This is a different story. I think Blab's going to revolutionize that space in terms of connecting with people, connecting with influencers. I mean, having someone running the chat and then coming in and speaking to them, connecting with them. Now, first of all, if I hit you up on Twitter, you could have just said, "Thanks, Jacques. I appreciate your comment. I appreciate your support." Now you know what my face looks like. You know the way how I speak. You know what I sound like. You know what my accent's like. You know somewhat of what my background is, obviously. And you can relate to that whenever you maybe run into me, whenever in the future at a conference, whether I'm attending a keynote that you're giving, wherever in the world. Now there's a stronger relation. And I think especially the next stage in what this world is coming to in terms of generational advancement is creating relational connections over social media, but in the level of utilizing video and streaming as a base.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's so amazing. Like, we're able to connect with people all over the world and learn their story. And that's so powerful. I always talk about storytelling. That's the way we can change the world. Just like you sharing your story with us, Lance sharing his story with us, we learn from that, and we connect through that, and we understand that, hey, we're not alone going through these struggles or chasing after our dreams, and other people are doing it too, and it's really, really amazing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Thank you for adding that. So he put it in the comments, Entrepreneur Revolution by Daniel Priestley, and he put the link so you could check it out. Thanks for that that advice or that book.
Thank you, Jack.
Fantastic. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, guys. I've got to get out. Got to get back to work. I have some things to do. But I followed both of you on Blab, and I'll hit you up on Twitter. Hopefully we connect again in the future.
Yes, likewise. I followed you as well. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Have a good day, guys.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have another person calling in. There's a great chat going on in the comments. I've been reading your comments. Hello, Ike Smith.
Ike, what's up, Ike?
Hey, what's up? Hey, how y'all doing?
Another University of Florida, Alexis. Another University of Florida student.
Awesome. Go Gators.
Both questions about the transition and about age, and I just wanted to say thank you. That really was inspirational, and I do appreciate what you guys are telling me. I'm definitely writing notes. And I just wanted to say I never did nothing like this before, and I definitely appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you tuned in. I started my company at UF, and I just started to go for it, and it's changed so much. It started as a blog, but I just started doing what I love, and it's led me to where I am today. And that's really like the best advice, is just do what makes your soul come alive, and ask yourself, what would I do for free? And then that has the key secrets to what your passion really is.
Right.
And I would also add, knowing you since you got here to the University of Florida, one thing about you that stands out for me, different from other people, is the fact that you'll ask questions. You're looking to learn. You're looking for the answer. And I would just say, continue to do that. Continue to ask questions. Continue to figure out how can you get better. And I guarantee you that's going to take you a long way.
All right. But yeah, Alexa, I never met you before, but nice to meet you. And I will get back with Joe after this blog and conversation. And hopefully I can reach out and meet you and eventually talk to you more often, because I definitely appreciate some of your advice. Mr. Joe always been the helping person to me, but it's also good to hear a female have the same inspiration. So I just want to tell you thank you as well.
Thanks so much. Yeah, so definitely we'll stay connected. And you can always reach out to me on Twitter. I'm Alexa Rose Carlin, or through my website, alexacarlin.com.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
All
right. So, Crystal is calling in. Oh, all these people are calling in now. Crystal is part of Periscope.
Oh, I met Crystal the other night.
Oh, you did? Awesome.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Crystal.
I'm so happy for conversations like this. You guys just don't even know. I actually was talking about this morning on Periscope about the community that's been built, because I feel like in my warm market of people, I don't have people that I can really talk with about the journey of what I'm going through. They love me. I love them. They're my friends. They're my family. But they just don't get certain things. So to see you guys on here talking about, taking that faith walk and leaps and going after your dreams, it's just so refreshing. And it just helps keep me up in a transition that I'm like currently going through right now. Like I literally just left my job 2.5 weeks ago now. And I'm literally faith walking from step to step, day to day. And it is it's actually really exciting, but in your mind, logically, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. If I were to tell somebody what I'm doing, they'll be like, you are crazy. But every fiber of my being is literally telling me to serve others. Just keep serving. Just keep serving. And the more that I get on Periscope, the more that I do stuff, I'm getting little inklings of visions and ideas here and there. And I just keep moving forward in it, And I have no idea what tomorrow, next week, a month may bring, but it's just something on the inside that just keeps saying, keep serving, keep serving. And it's been magical, because I find you, Alexa, I find you, Joe, I find these people that just uplift me in their own stories and their own journeys. And it's amazing. I'm just so grateful for you guys. I'm so grateful.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm so grateful for you too. Like, We've talked a lot through Periscope, and that's first, congratulations for taking the leap. And second, for really, taking away the logic and knowing that in your intuition and your truest heart, you know that this is the right thing. And I believe that if you have that vision, right, you have a knowing. Right? We talked about this with Bob Doyle, the difference between a belief and a knowing. You have a knowing that you're meant to do big things, then that's really all you need. You need that vision and that knowing, and then the steps will align. You can't plan for everything, because I always say the best moments happen unplanned. So, same for me. I have my vision. I don't really know exactly what tomorrow may bring or the exact steps, but it's just taking that one breath at a time, that one moment at a time. And I definitely connect with you when you said the people around you don't really understand. I'm really grateful for my mom and dad. They definitely understand and support me, but the rest of my family thought I was crazy for quitting my last job. Insane. And they thought I was crazy for going gluten-free and vegan to heal myself instead of listening to a doctor. And they thought my dad was crazy for starting his own business. So it's just different mindsets. And if you know that this is the right thing for you, yeah, you can find your other community of support online, and you just show them. You just show them instead of tell them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Joe, I'm so glad I got to meet you recently on here. I have to connect with you now because everything you've been saying is just resonating with me. So, yeah.
I wanted to share with you. I just heard something the other day. Somebody said, and I forgot who it was, but it was deep. It said, a lot of times your family will not respect you or respect what you do until outsiders celebrate you. I was like, dang, that's deep. That's deep, right? So they may not understand what you're doing, and wait till you blow up. Then they're gonna be like, "Oh, Crystal," and that's okay. Don't hold that against them, because that's all right. They don't understand this process because it's a mindset. But just keep doing what you're doing, and they'll come along after a while. Family, friends, they'll come along.
And I've seen a little bit of change, because exactly what you're saying has happened. It'll take somebody else saying, "Yeah, your daughter, da 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 da," and then they'll be like, "Oh, I'm starting to get it." But it's so awesome, because when you do stick it out, like you're saying, like my mother, I'm starting to see that just being around me, she's starting to stretch her faith a little bit more. She's starting to think, even at her age, she's 64, and she's like, what's my purpose in life? Is my song over with yet? She's always wanted to write. Maybe I should start writing again. And just to see her even go through that process at her age is just, it's incredible. So yeah, thank you for that. And thank you guys for this. I'm going to hop off if somebody else wants to get on here. I just had to come say I am so grateful for you guys. So grateful.
Oh, that's amazing. And you're inspiring your mom, and you're inspiring people around you just by being you. So that's amazing. Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad I got to meet you face to face.
I know, right?
Okay, so we're going to end this blab, but thank you so much to everyone that was part of the conversation in the chat room and that popped on and called in. We really appreciate your input, and you guys are inspiring each other in the chat, so it's amazing. And same on my Periscope. And thank you so much, Joe, for all your input and advice, and for talking about this topic and being an example for other people. It's incredible.
Absolutely. I just want to close and say, please, check me out everywhere else. I'm Instagram, everywhere. I'm Joe Johnson Speaks, but because I can't get enough characters on Twitter, I'm Jay Johnson Speaks. But please check it out. My website, joejohnsonspeaks.com, and hopefully you all really begin to think about making this transition. And to help you, please check out my book, Pursue Your Purpose, Not Your Dreams, and also another book by Tim Ferriss called The 4-Hour Workweek. Awesome book. And thank you, Alexa. I hope we can do some more of this together, and I see some stuff in the future with us. I thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, follow Joe Johnson. Follow me, Alexa Rose Carlin, on Periscope, Twitter, Instagram. It's all Alexa Rose Carlin. And there'll be many more inspirational talks to come on Blab. I'm going to try to do this a weekly thing, bring on a guest and talk about a topic that will help you become your best self and create a life that you love. So I'm sure we'll have more Blabs together, Joe.
Absolutely.